welcome into our live Command Center camp coverage, sponsored by Ortho Virginia, official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders. That's right, Commanders family, football is finally back here in Ashburn. And Commanders family, we are bringing you a live look at practice as we kick off the first day of training camp. Brian Colbert Jr. here with London Fletcher, Sean Springs, and we have some other legends, Logan Paulson, Fred Smoot, and Santana Moss on the field. We got a full crew here with us today for day one. Fellas, how are y'all feeling?
Oh, feeling absolutely great, man. It's like the first day of school.
It is,
you know, that night before when you can't sleep, you just like, man, anticipating. That's what it feels like, Sean, on the first day of training camp.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement, and you're like, I'm glad I just passed the conditioning test. You know?
Right, exactly.
The first day, you just want to get everything going in the right direction, smooth, and start it off real nice and easy, like the first day of school.
Hey, like the first day of school, we got the fits laid out. We got the polos,
yeah.
brothers. Y'all looking good, man. And we are going to have a very fun show. But we cannot start training camp off without hearing from our fearless leader. That's right, our new head coach, Dan Quinn, caught up with Logan Paulson right before training camp. Check it out.
Logan Paulson here with a man who needs no introduction, head coach Dan Quinn. Coach, obviously first day, kind of first day of school a little bit.
Right on.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I am really excited. This group, and you've seen some of them, they have really put in work. And so when you come back and you see a little bit of conditioning test, you see some bodies that have changed, you know, like for a coach, the time away is recharge to go. But you know this firsthand, that time as a player, there's a lot can get done in those 5 weeks. And you can see that when somebody comes back. And so when you look around this team, there's some guys that are in really good shape. So they're really ready to go get it on.
Yeah, and obviously not in pads today, kind of part of that league-mandated acclimation period. What are you watching for today? You mentioned in your press you got some red zone stuff going on. What are you looking for specifically?
Yeah, so I think defensively, you can hear a good defense before you see it. So you better hear communication, some alerts, the motions, the formations, the checks that could come. And then offensively, I want to make sure down the red zone that what happens on the second play. You know, there's some plays where the quarterback will get outside the pocket. And so knowing that there'll be 2 plays at times, you know, here's one, looks there, I'm out, and you go create. And so our quarterbacks are really effective on the move. And so seeing that and knowing that's a part of it, that'll be a really big piece.
Coach, can't wait to check it out. Good luck today, man.
All right,
Congratulations. Yep.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
That was our blueprint brought to you by Clark Construction, the official construction partner of the Washington Commanders. Good to see Logan and Coach doing their thing. And, fellas, day one of training camp. Y'all have been here before.
Yep.
Y'all have done this. What is it like, and what's going through y'all minds when y'all pull up to day one of training camp?
For me, it's real now. You know, you can have the off season. There's a lot of changes with new coaches, new players, new teammates. Now, when we put in the work and we go out there the first day, we're building to win, and we're trying to see how the group comes together and how we all going to start to communicate, how we're going to all start to work together to get ready for the season.
Yeah, it's definitely a different type of atmosphere, different type of anxiety because you think about this, during the off season, the mini camps, the OTAs and all that, the pressure's not the same. But once training camps start, now you understand, hey, I can get cut if I don't have a good practice. I can get cut if I don't have a great preseason game. And for veteran players like myself and Sean, when you get there, you know how to ramp it up. You know how to take it to another level. You know how to bring up the intensity in practice. So the anxiety is there, but also the intensity and the atmosphere and the anticipation of the season really ramps up.
And Commanders family, you can see our guys on the field right now getting that stretch in. Now, fellas, a lot of storylines, a lot of threads to follow with the Washington Commanders. I think we've been talked about a lot, especially on the national media.
Right.
What are you guys most looking for day one?
I'm looking forward to seeing what this offensive line looks like. That was the biggest issue that we had last year. You look at some of the moves they made in the offseason already, bringing in two veterans, signing Biadasz, signing Allegretti from the Kansas City Chiefs, and also drafting a Brandon Coleman. What's that offensive line going to look like? Because we all know the game is won in the trenches on the offensive line and the defensive line. We have to solidify our offensive line, especially anticipating starting a rookie quarterback. You got to make sure that protection is there for him, and that offensive line has to be intact.
And to piggyback off of that, London talked about possibly or starting a rookie quarterback, now in the defense. So I'm excited to see what Coach Witt is going to do with that defense. Is he going to bring that same type of energy that you saw down in Dallas with those guys who's picking the balls off every week, playing solid defense, giving the ball back to the quarterback in the offense, not put too much pressure on a young quarterback in the offense that's pretty new playing behind him, making sure that those guys don't feel the pressure, don't have to carry the team.
And yesterday we heard from Dan Quinn, and he was asked, is Jaden the starter? And he did not name Jaden the starter yet.
Right.
However, he talked about his excitement around watching him develop. How important is day one for a rookie quarterback like Jaden Daniels?
It's extremely important. You got to look at this. I love the way Dan Quinn and Adam Peters they're handling Jaden Daniels, even going all the way back to when he was drafted number 2 overall. They're not automatically thrusting him out here and being the savior and being looked at as the savior of this franchise, being as the guy that we have to be, the franchise quarterback. Obviously, we anticipate him being there, but saying, hey, we'll know when he's ready to be the starting quarterback. Let's take the pressure off him. Let him go out and grow as a quarterback, grow in this system, learn his teammates, be the leader, learn the playbook. And obviously, we anticipate him being the starter day one, but them saying, "Hey, we'll know when he's ready to start." Yeah. We don't want to have to throw it out there right away and all those types of things.
I think that's the right talk track. Like day one practice is important, but they're telling them one day at a time.
Yeah. Exactly.
They spoon feeding them the right information at the right time to get ready for the first week, the first preseason game, the second preseason game, and get ready for the season. So to your point, London, I think that's exactly right. The talk track has to be we're preparing.
Yeah, and when you think about this, and think about this, we're gonna have joint practices with the Miami Dolphins and also the New York Jets. Those things I know were done to help in the development of Jaden Daniels because, hey, during the preseason game now, because I'm having these practices, these joint practices, I don't necessarily have to play him 3 quarters in the preseason game. He's going to get a tremendous amount of work in those joint practices against the Jets and also the Miami Dolphins. So those things were done strategically to help develop Jaden Daniels.
And it wasn't just those things. It was also bringing in veteran presence. We have a Mariota. We brought veterans in on the linebackers, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu. Now, you two were veterans that came into Washington. You guys were already established. However, y'all came in hungry, so y'all came in with something to prove. Give us that little aspect of what that's like, being that veteran presence here on a new team.
Well, I think it's really important. That's why you brought a guy like we talk about us. We talk about London, who when he came into our defense, and we pretty established defense, but he took us to another level.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Bobby Wagner. What it means, a guy who knows Dan Quinn's system from Seattle. He understands how to get all the. He might not have the same foot speed that he had like 10 years ago when he first got in the league or whatever, but he knows how to get these guys ready to go for practice, what Coach expects, what Coach Witt expects, and he's going to go line these guys out. So a veteran in the locker room can settle things down because you're going to have some days where you're going to get tested. You're going to have some days when people are tired, and the veterans know when to say, hey, man, you're not doing enough, Rook, or we need to do more as a defense or a team.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bobby Wagner, which I absolutely love. I mean, future first ballot Hall of Famer. The thing about Bobby, not only does he know the system and he's going to be there as a leader, he also has something to prove. He's on a 1-year contract. You know, Seattle didn't want to bring him back at the money that he wanted. So he's looking at this like, hey, I'm not just coming here to be a leader. I'm also coming here to be a playmaker, to show you that I still can make plays. And he had a great season last year.
NFL tackles.
He's going to continue to be that guy, make plays, show you, hey, I'm not just here to be a coach on the field. I'm here to make plays, show you that I'm still that guy. I still got some savvy to my game and things like that. As a veteran guy, we know how to get ready. We know, and we also can sense when the practice is not going the way it should be. You can sense that and say, I can tell when we're dragging a little bit. Defensively, when we're kind of going through the motions. And a guy like Bobby knows how to challenge his guys and say, hey, this is not good enough. This is not championship level defense.
And you guys both mentioned real quick how you guys have challenged people. So as that veteran linebacker that came in, because you came in very much the same age as Bobby Wagner, what would you be looking for from your rookies, from those rookie linebackers that are in, these young guys? What are you looking for?
Well, the main thing you want to see is making sure that they're attentive in the meetings, making sure they're asking right questions. And a lot of times they might not necessarily ask the question in the meeting room, but you can tell if a guy's not getting something. Or we can be watching film together, and a guy has, maybe a mistake or something, being able to pull him to the side and give him some little tidbits and say, hey, this is helping him, this can help you out, and also helping him on the field. And I play with a lot of young linebackers, and that was one of the things that I really prided on, just being able to give them a nugget here or there to help them in their development.
Fellas, a lot of excitement here for this team. We are out in the elements. It's a little humid, so bear with us with our cameras and our technical equipment. But we got the rest of our Command Center crew guys on the field. That's the legend Logan Paulson. That's Mr. 8 to the 9 Santana Moss and the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, live from the field. Fellas, what is the energy like on that field right now?
Thanks, Brian. Obviously the veteran presence is going to be a huge deal for this offense and the defense, right? Talking about Bobby Wagner and all those guys. But I think one group in particular where that veteran presence is extremely important is with the quarterback, with Marcus Mariota. You talk about this all the time, Fred. Having a guy who's been there, has walked this path before. How important is that for our guy, Jaden Daniels?
It's almost like a clone, right? Think about this. Marcus Mariota, number 2 pick. Our quarterback, number 2 pick. Our quarterback, both of them running quarterbacks. They have to learn how to throw, when to slide. So I think he can just tell him, this is how you have longevity. This is how you become the player you want to be. Don't make the mistakes I made because I thought like this way. So the blueprint is there for Jaden Daniels to be good, but like you said, it's the presence of an older guy that's going to give him what he needs.
And then just speaking of talking about like a clone, that's you can tell this coaching staff went into a lot of preparation saying, hey, let's bring a guy in here that we're going to.
1 second. I mean, Tanner, we got a little juice right here. We got a little juice right here, right?
I love juice.
And this is something they brought during the mini camp, the OTA, and just guys running through bags, getting excited. I love the coaches, man, because again, like there's days where you don't feel like coming out. And when you see your coach kind of getting after it a little bit, it's like, oh, I got to bring it today. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is
DQ got that.
No. This is adrenaline mixed with just I want it. Like I want to know who wants it. Who wants to be here today? That's what I love about practice. I just love practice because I want to be here today. First day of training camp, you gotta love it.
There's no false chatter going on right now.
There ain't no fake chatter going on over there.
You gotta bring it.
Yeah, so let's talk about Marcus Mariota, Tanner. Catch up.
No, just talking about what Fred basically saying, this staff said, let's go get a guy that's going to be, just like the guy we're bringing in.
Yeah.
Now he can actually see, okay, this guy's doing this and that because this is what I have in my makeup. Instead of having a guy here that say, oh, he's a pocket passer, now I'm trying to emulate what he's doing.
Yeah.
It was just great by having a guy in here that kind of resembles what Jaden can be and what he was once before when he came in.
Yeah, and I can't imagine what the expectations are for a guy like that. You see him over there throwing to that net, and the one thing I love about him, footwork, excellent release, but Tanner, you were a first-round draft pick. Fred, second-round draft pick. Talk about the expectations that he might be going through and what the fans can expect from him during this training camp.
Well, here go the great thing about him. I think as a quarterback that's been to Arizona State, a quarterback that's been to LSU, a quarterback that's been there and done that, a guy that won the Heisman, he's used to the lights being on him. He understands, but this is what really makes me feel good about him. He's just him. He don't try to be more than he is. He just, I'm here to play football. And what he said, I think about a month ago, I haven't earned anything yet. I'm just here trying to understand what my job is and help this team to win. I think that's everything of his makeup and what he's going to be.
You can't appreciate that more than what, we're just talking about it. But I remember being here when you brought the RG3 in. That was a circus. When I said circus, it was a circus from the media. It was a circus on the field. It was just it was a difference. And I'm not out there between the lines with this guy, but I can just sense his aura. He's calm, collective, humble. He understands it's a job to be done. I'm not going to make this thing more than what it is. I'm already the second, overall pick. Not going to make it more than what it is, but I have a job to do, and I want to do that first.
Yeah, and Dan talked today a lot about in his press conference of red zone. They're doing a lot of red zone today, and I think he brought up a great point. They're doing it to protect the receiver's hamstrings.
Nice.
Keep those high speed. High speed yardage down, right? But I think red zone is also a tough day to start for the quarterback.
It is.
Because the windows are tight. Fred, could you talk about defensively?
I'm going to say, every throw has to be anticipated, one. You got tight windows, two. And a tenth of a second late is an interception or a tip ball. Tip balls are interceptions. It is what you need to be great at. Any quarterback can throw the ball from 50 to 50. But it takes a special quarterback to be good inside that red zone because that red zone don't give you chance to process. You have to know before the snap. Pre-snap is everything in the red zone. I like the fact that coach is challenging them. Say, you know what? Let's do the hard part first, and we'll do the easy part second.
You said you hit it dead on. I think one of the things you look at it from a coach's standpoint, saying, okay, has no room to scramble. He has no room to sit there and say you're going to have these guys being able to, have more field to, get open with. Now make the right pass. Make the right throw.
Throw it away.
Or throw it away. So it's great to have a staff that say, hey, let's go ahead and put him in the situation now. So when we move, as far as we go back, now he can say, okay, I can play better football because I had to do it early and out the gate.
Yeah, and I think if there's one area that he struggled with a little bit in the offseason, it was red zone because of those tight windows, because of those opportunities. So, again, it would be really cool to see him come out today. Tana, as a veteran receiver, is there anything that Terry could say to him in this red zone period that kind of would help him out, you think? Or am I just pulling at straws there?
Well, Terry can say he's throw me the ball.
And throw it now.
He gonna get over.
Throw it now.
No, but one of the things he could just tell him, man, just make the right choice. Make the right decision. That's one of the things that I always care. I care less about getting the ball when it was someone else's over.
But that's why you're you, though. Because you had that maturity to be like, hey, make the decision. You know what I'm saying?
Right decision. And I think right now, this is one of those things, like you said, if it was a period that we saw struggle, let's get to it now. Let's go on out here and try to, tighten up some of those things that we saw earlier in the OTAs and the mini camps, so that we're going to have to worry about going through this later on in camp.
I think what he can learn from a guy like Terry can tell him, hey, this throw right here, throw it to the linebackers to the back of his head. This throw right here, throw it to the pylon. This throw right here, throw it right here in this window, because this window won't be here. What Terry can tell him is, I have been here, I have done this. What used to be open in college is not open anymore. Like, you have to anticipate the throw. You have to be ahead of the throw. And the smartest thing you could ever do in the red zone, and I will repeat this time and time again, especially as defensive back, do not be scared to throw the ball away. Throw the ball away and live to play another day. I think that's what Terry.
And we're talking about Terry, and I had a quick conversation with Zach Ertz in the hallway upstairs, and he was saying, like, one of the things that's been great is, like, Jaden telling me how he wants the route run.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I think this is, again, just another opportunity for everybody to kind of share knowledge and get on the same page, because, Tana, as you can attest to, if I got – that makes you almost unbeatable when you're on the same page as your quarterback.
Yeah, I think one of the things about it, if you got a young guy that's telling these guys that now,
that says everything.
That says everything about your quarterback. Yeah. That's what you want. You want that relationship. You want to be able to say, we're communicating now to make both our lives.
We are problem solving together right now.
Bingo. And you heard that. You heard that earlier in those OTA periods and those mini camps, that he was one of those guys that let's get these reps after practice.
Yeah.
Because I want to tighten this stuff up now, and that's why I say I'm so eager to see how this guy mature throughout this this training camp, because he's already showed me a sense of maturity that I didn't expect from a young guy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, he's 24. He's been through a lot of adversity. You mentioned ASU.
And I like that.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about the red zone. I think another group that's critical in the red zone is the offensive line. Yeah. And those guys are working through, and there's a lot of questions to answer about that group. Yeah. What can they start showing you, Fred, to say, hey, man, we're kind of trending in the right direction?
The one thing I love about the offensive line, independently, they can't be great. They have to be great as a group. Like, they like a boy band. The boy band doesn't work unless they all are on the same page. And we won't actually get to see how good these guys are until we at war. That's the thing
with
about
the pads
it.
On, right?
Until the pads are on, until the preseason starts, until the real game starts, until we're running the ball downhill, power Bob-O, until these things happen, we don't know
Power Bob-O. Look at you, man.
You got to understand.
Taking it way back.
Right. So the thing about it is, we don't know how good they are until they can collaborate and do things as a group. Now, what I do know about this group, I think we upgraded. We upgraded at center. We upgraded at the guard. We upgraded at tackle. So the thing is, who is going to be the starters is the first thing we need to figure out. Two is, how many reps can we get y'all together before the season starts?
I mean, I think the thing that I come away with is that has maybe the most interesting position battle of training camp.
Yeah.
With Brandon Coleman, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone said, we're going to try him out at left tackle. Yeah. And again, we can't wait to watch these guys, quarterback, offensive line, see what they're doing. Yeah. But Brian, back to you.
Fans, it's time to make your power move. Brought to you by Bank of America, official bank of the Washington Commanders. Great to see our guys on that sideline, and they will be on the sideline all training camp long. And we want you to tell us what position groups Logan, Fred, and Santana should highlight each show. To vote, scan the QR code on your screen and select who you want to be featured in this Sunday show. London and Sean, if you could pick from this list, which one would it be? It'd be wide receivers, running backs, defensive backs, or linebackers. Who are you most looking forward to hear them talk about? If I had a guess.
I'm actually going on the offense side of the ball. I'm excited to see what the receivers do. I think Jahan Johnson is going to have a big year. Yeah. And they got Luke McCaffrey. They got McCaffrey. I'm just interested to see what he does, what he brings to the table.
Hey, man, you know what? I got to see my linebackers. I got to see my linebackers. We got Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, and Jamin Davis going into his fourth year. What are those guys going to be like? And also, the guy like Jordan McGee and some of those other guys that'll be with the linebacker core. What are they going to look like under new head coach? I mean, new linebacker coach Ken Norton Jr.
Ken Norton Jr., man. Former defensive coordinator. big guy out of Seattle, man. We have a lot of fun to talk about. But since you went linebackers, let's go secondary, man. Yeah. You know, I'm surprised you didn't pick secondary. No. Let's talk secondary.
Well, Emmanuel Forbes is the first come to mind.
Yeah.
When you think about guys who can get the ball, and you think about how Joe Witt's defense has always been an opportunistic defense, getting the interceptions, I expect Emmanuel Forbes to be the guy we drafted in the first round, the guy who led the SEC in interception. I expect him to play very well. Forrest. Forrest.
Love him.
We all love this guy. He's not talked about a lot, but you're talking about a physical presence, erase a lot of mistakes in the back end. I'm curious to see what he does this year, and I think this could be his breakout year. One of those guys that go from like not a real known name around the league to being maybe a potential star in the league.
Yeah, and I've touched on this several times. Derek Forrest was my favorite player to watch on defense. He flew around the field. You talked about erasing things. He was a great communicator back there. With Forbes, it's not a matter of physical tools and skills and things like that. He has that. I feel like they had to do a lot of more mental work with Emmanuel Forbes, getting his confidence back because of the tough season he had a year ago. And I'm sure, Joe Witt Jr., Donatello, secondary coach, those guys really worked to get him where he needs to be from a mental standpoint, from a confidence standpoint. Because Blue, as you go out on that field, especially at that cornerback position, you got to feel like you're the baddest dude out there on that field. No matter, hey, I might give up a play, but it don't matter. I'm about to go make this next play. And if you're not playing with great confidence, especially at that cornerback, your body language is not the same. And offenses sense that, and they're going to continue to go at him. I really want to see how he looks in this defense under Joe Witt Jr.
And London, I'm so glad you brought up Forrest. You talk about confidence. He plays with that confidence. We lost him early, and I don't think we made a big enough deal about that loss in our secondary. Y'all have been here before, coming off of injuries like that. How important is it to come out here and make a statement if you're a guy like Forrest?
It's just extremely important because, you're looking at him where I think 2 years ago he had 5 interceptions, something like that. Really an underrated guy. But from a standpoint of him, he can't wait to put the pads back on to see where his shoulders at and see how he is from a hitting standpoint, a tackling standpoint. We know he's going to run around and make plays, but once you want to get that kind of that now I want to say fear, but just that anxiety away from hey, can I come up and tackle?
Get back into it.
Get back into it, being physical and doing the things that he's accustomed to doing.
Yeah, for sure. And and guys now, because of modern technology and the medical staff, I mean, those guys have went through everything. So I mean, he's confident around that he can bounce back from. But like, you got to get your feet wet. You always talk about it. You got to just get back into the movement, taking the right angles, and it's different when it's live. So he's going to get back.
But his energy's here because you see him on media days and he's pumped, man. He's feeling good. He's ready to go. He's all smiles. And I think when you lose all that time, it makes you appreciate the game a little better. And something else I'm sure he's going to appreciate, he has a new running mate with him, Jeremy Chin. Now, Chin is a guy I think a lot of people are excited about. I had an interview with him, and he was so intense. He just said, I'm pissed off. He's pissed off because he has things he wants to prove, man. How excited, because I know you love that. I know you heard that and were very excited. What do you expect to see from a guy like Jeremy Chin, who we assume will be a star?
I love the fact that he's pissed off. As a guy, we're always looking for something to motivate. Some type of disrespect or something where we can say, I have to prove something. Injuries have been the thing that has kind of kept Jeremy Chin from being one of the upper echelon safeties in the National Football League. Really, how are they going to use him in the scheme? We know he can be a box safety. We know he can play strong safety. Are they going to bring him down in the box and have him kind of as a pseudo linebacker in certain situations? His versatility, he can blitz, he can do all the different things. You're talking about a guy who's just a physical specimen, 6'3", great size.
I'm going to give you one name, Cam Chancellor.
Oh, yeah.
Cam Chancellor, right? So when you think about way Coach used Cam in the defense out in Seattle, think Jeremy Chin. You're right. You don't know where he's going to be in the defense. He's versatile. He can be back on a half if he need to be, but he's also that 8th man in the box where he can fill on a run, and he's big enough to cover tight ends.
Right.
So he gives you that we like to do that Swiss Army knife that can do a lot of things, and so I'm excited to see our safety combination together. I think that's a nice combination to have with the versatility.
I think there's a lot of things to be excited about with this secondary. There's so many things we talk about.
Quan Martin.
There's a lot of guys we left off, but we got to get moving. And it's not just us that's excited. It's the fans that are excited too, man. So I actually got some fan questions for y'all. I want to get into it. Okay, let's get into some ice cold questions brought to you by Pepsi, official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. Now, we got these from X over here, so I'm going to read it. This is from, I'm assuming it says D-Hon on the mic. It says, all of you legends have had multiple camps with different teams. Where did Washington's camp vibes rank on those lists?
Oh man, that's tough. Well, I would say for me, the Washington camp is probably one of the camps that brought me the closest, because it was the first time, you know, after leaving Seattle, after being there for 7 years, when I came to Washington, it was a lot of new faces. You know, the staples were there. LeVar Arrington was still there, but we had young guys like Antonio Pierce that was coming up, Lamar Marshall, Fresh Smoot was still now becoming the guy. I thought he was going to be the guy, but I was really the guy coming in. So we had then we drafted Carlos and Sean. So I came into some camps with a lot of new faces. So it was a good time, but it was also like chaos.
And I played for 3 different teams, and I had to go back into the memory bank, man. I'll say this, when, you know, I was on the greatest show on turf in St. Louis, and you know, the vibes there, man. You talk about competitive. Oh my goodness, competitive juices, because we know defense, and we had to bring it up from a day-to-day, day-in, day-out standpoint. But I'm gonna look at it from the vibe standpoint, from a fan's perspective, and the energy that we get when the fans were there. Buffalo. Wow. Their fans were there on a consistent basis. I mean, that Bills Mafia, they traveled, they were at training camp all the time. But what I saw last year, and the fans being out here and bringing that energy and that vibe, that definitely was something that resonated with me. It was something that I kind of felt like was comparable to Buffalo's training camp from a fan perspective and fan environment.
Oh, great question, man. Great question. We got some more. So this is from @_YUNIQE_. What role do you guys think Luke McCaffrey will play in this offense? We can't speculate about, you know, but what do you think? How do you think he'll be utilized?
Well, we know they got a pretty talented receiving core, I believe, with McLaurin leading that group and Jahan Dotson, who's a breakout player, even a young guy like Dahami Brown. I think there's an opportunity for Luke to make himself known from his special teams as well. A lot of times people don't really like you might not necessarily be the star receiver or trying to win a slot position, you know, because we got some studs, but a young receiver can come in and make his presence felt on special teams, whether that's returning kicks, punts, potentially in that part of the game as well.
Well, just looking at it from a defense perspective and standpoint, just right now you go into the game and you're going to look at Terry as the number one, and hopefully Jahan emerges and has a bounce-back season, and he's viewed as the number 2 guy in this offense from the receiving standpoint. So Luke is going to be getting, you know, most times a number 3 corner and not being as much of a focal point of a defense. So he's going to have an opportunity to be in a lot of one-on-one situations that utilize him. Great size, can run. You know, he's faster than what people would think. So he's going to have an opportunity to make a lot of plays, because defense is going to probably, first and foremost, we got to take away Terry. And hopefully Jahan is having a bounce-back season, and he's a major problem. Now Luke is going to be able to eat, because he's going to be working a lot of one-on-one situations.
You know, anytime you hear the name McCaffrey, you're expecting big plays, man. So we're excited to see what Luke can do. These are great questions, man. Y'all got energy for one more. We know he's hot.
Let's do it. First day of training camp.
Everything there. So this is from @TCrass, CRASS. Do you feel with the right coaching staff, this coaching staff, we could get more out of players like Jahan Dotson and Emmanuel Forbes? You guys alluded to this a little earlier.
And coaching is everything. You know, when you, and it's the right type of coaching, because the good thing about a coach who's also a teacher is understanding the temperament of the player that he's coaching. Some people can take tough love. Some people need to be like, say, tell me why am I doing this, coach? Educating them. Some guys, just depending on how they respond, that's the job of a coach. You got, especially as your position coach, you got to know the temperament of your room and each one of the players within that room, and then how does that fit into the scheme of the defense as well as the team and the organization, what we're trying to accomplish.
Dan Quinn talks a lot about dog-ass competitors.
And
I don't know that people really understand when he talks about competing what he's really saying. I know a lot of people be like, man, what do you mean compete? Yeah, of course you're going to compete. No, it's levels of competing. It's different levels where, like, me and Blue going against each other, and, like, we're giving it our all. I'm not going to allow him to get the best of me. He's not going to allow me to get the best of him, and just competing at a high level, coaching matters, and we know they're gonna be competing on the high level, and that's gonna get the best out of these players.
Man, gotta love training camp. Gotta love fan questions, man. This is so much fun being here with you guys. But we know what this is about, right? Training camp prepares you for the season. But before you get to the season, you have to hit the preseason. So we are just less than 2 weeks away from the Commanders preseason opener out in New York. August 10th at noon, we will take on the New York Knicks. That'll be on WUSA 9. August 17th at 7 p.m. in Miami, in South Beach. We'll take on the Dolphins. That'll also be aired on WUSA 9. Then our last preseason game, August 25th, will be prime time at the crib. Commanders Field, 8 p.m. The New England Patriots. That'll air on NBC. Fans, get your tickets for the Commanders preseason finale on commanders.com/tickets. Now let's get back to the action with more from our guys down on the field. It's time for some healthy competition. Brought to you by Ortho Virginia, official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders.
All right, we just saw some healthy competition right there. Now let's take a look at some of these field drills. And my eye is immediately drawn to the defensive field, guys, because one of the things Joe Wood Jr. said is, like, we got to be a good tackling football team. And they are working angled pursuit tackling. Linebackers over here, they're working vice tackling with the DBs over there. And I just think, like, as a defense, it's great that they're working on these fundamentals day one, first period of practice almost, tackling.
We are organized chaos at its finest. We are chasers. We people that respond to whatever's going on. And to do that, you need to start to do, like, Tanner, I tell you, when Greg Williams was here before practice. And we was literally running drills 100 yards because he wanted us to practice tired, because when you play tired in the game, now you get used to it. That's what you're used to as a defense. And I think that's what Witt is trying to do over there with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you know, when you're going to have camps the way they have camps now. Because we were just talking about this coming out here. First day was pass for us. The first day we was banging. We was clacking. You know, it was and it was two practices in one day. But when you're going to have these kind of light practices where it's just helmets, you still have to get the fundamentals down. So it's great to see them going over, you know, those fundamentals, because that's what's going to stand true when it comes to competition. I need to know where I got to put my shoulder and where I have to make this tackle, when I have to make that play.
And you mentioned fundamentals, Tana, and like with the receivers here, I love, again, like just how they start with the basics, right? We're going to work a comeback, coming vertical, right back down our stem. And I don't know, like, I know we're still just kind of priming the team periods and stuff. Could you talk about, like, why that's so important to get that primed before practice?
I think it's very important because you want to get your steps down. You want to know that on my third step, I need to be coming out and turning my head around. You want to know that, you know, it's going to take me 2 steps out of this particular route, you know. So those are some of the things I love to do. I love to just get that I guess you can say that muscle memory down. You want to make sure you got your muscle memory down, so when you have to run that 12-yard, you know, out route, or that 6-step, you know, curl route, you want to make sure that muscle memory is there, and it's a fine time to get it right now.
Did you take these full speed, or did you just kind of warm it?
Everything I did was full speed. Come on, I only had one gear.
That's all right. That was my bad. That was a dumb question. Dumb question. So obviously working on routes. We got the offensive line over here to our left. And I think, again, this is like you know, we talked about tackling, we talked about route stems. With the offensive line, I mean, I love that they're working combinations already. Because, like, you said this at the start of the show. It's how they work together, and the only way you can get working together is if we spend time together working on these double teams.
You got to be in unison. So I got to know what hip he's going to be in. How far are you going to be behind me when I attack this guard, or when I get second level and get this linebacker? Like, I think the one thing about it is communication is the key, and that's why I say be honest is going to be the key to that, because the center is always the communicator with that offensive line. So communication and them understanding what's comfortable for me ain't going to be comfortable for you. So I need to find your comfortability and make sure you're good, and I make sure I have your back. If I can say anything about the offensive line, having each other back makes them a great group.
That's a very solid rep there by Cole Turner, you know, like working on that, what I would call a triple or a combination between the tackle, tight end, turning that shoulder, right? And everyone talks about the chemistry between receivers and quarterback, but the chemistry is the same, because not everybody does this the same. You know what I'm saying, Tana? Like, it's just a little bit different for everybody, and so understanding your teammates is extremely important.
I was going to ask you, and this speaking about the offensive line, you know, when you look at it, and we talked about being a team, being in unison, how much more is it being a guy that's individually have to take on that battle, or as long as I just handle my business and get my guy going to where I need to get him going? Because, you know, I see some of these greats The only time they're really out there physically going after a guy when they have man-to-man.
Yeah.
But in some of these blocking schemes now, so today, if you turn your butt the right way in the hole or just get your guy running, you know you did your job. So talk to me about that.
I think that's a great question, and I think the one thing about a good run game is it's everybody. It's not the 5 guys up front. It's the tight end. It's the back. If you have a good back, and we got 2 great running backs here in B-Rob and Austin Eckler that understand how to set up blocks, right? If I understand and I trust the back's going to be where he's supposed to be, it makes my life as a blocker so much easier because I know I don't need to physically manhandle this guy because the back – let's say the back's on outside zone. He's going to push that my outside shoulder. I can just sit there with him because the defender's going to push out thinking he's going to make the tackle. The running back's going to put his foot in the ground and cut up. So understanding that relationship, understanding where the receivers are in the blocking service is also extremely critical. So I think it's everybody. And that's why I love the run game at the NFL level because every one of these guys, plus the tight ends, plus the receivers, all involved. Love to see it. And we talked about chemistry with the O-linemen, and now we get to see some of that chemistry with the skill position guys, routes on air. I just think this is like such a great way to start practice, and it's a good way to see Jaden Daniels throwing the football.
Well, actually, I like to see multiple quarterbacks throwing to multiple
This is a little
guys.
bit different.
Yeah, and that's what I love because I always hated to see wide receivers run empty routes and not get the ball and not anticipate things. Like, I understand when you call the play, yes, they got the number 1 wide receiver, number 2, and maybe I get back to the number 3. But the best wide receiver and the best offense, they always run the route like I'm getting the ball every time. And I think this drills mimics this. I think they're telling them muscle memory right here. I want y'all, I don't care if you're getting the ball or not. I want you to run the route like it's supposed to be ran and anticipate that the ball is coming to you.
And then one of the things that's key about this when you're thinking about it, you have 3 to 4 quarterbacks in camp. And sometimes you're going with that number 1 guy all the time. So if now I'm getting thrown to by each and every one of these quarterbacks, I don't have to worry about saying, I didn't get a rep with this guy. So this play, you know what I mean? I'm getting a chance to do it now.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? I get a chance to touch all these guys' balls so I can know how hard he's throwing. Does he throw on time? Does he throw high? Does he throw low? You know what I mean? Because I remember at some time, like, you're going to get a guy in a game or in practice where you might not have a rep.
Especially the preseason. A lot of these guys will be.
I love this period, just seeing all these guys getting a chance to catch passes from each and every one of these quarterbacks.
And I also love watching these guys, Santa, because everyone does it a little bit differently. There's no right, wrong answer, right? It's how it works for you and if you're getting to your spot.
Well, that's one of the things about, being a receiver. You watch Justin Jefferson. You watch how he set guys up in his routes. You watch a guy like myself. I'm going, like we just talked about, I got 1 gear, I'm going there right now, and I'm going to still get there. You have Adams. You have all these different unique wide receivers in the game that they all have different ways to get to their point, and the quarterback has to know who he has to throw the ball to and how he does it.
And Fred, you haven't said anything for a minute, and that's unusual for you. But if we look at the defensive backs over there, right, I love this drill they're doing, right? They got the defender on the outside hip of the receiver, right? It's a defender kind of giving the scout look, and they're working undercutting the route. I don't know if you can see it, Fred, because you got old eyes, but, like, what are we working on right here?
Well, basically, they're teaching them where the body should be. Like when you were chasing somebody and when we playing man under, that's the coverage we're playing when we're playing under you. Now I have to respond to any move you make. Now, I'm always going to be a step late. Now, what they're teaching him is I can't get close to him like this and think I can shatter him. I need to shatter him about a yard.
Really? That far, huh?
I need to be a yard from him so when you make your break, I'm not coming to you. I'm going to where you going.
Interesting.
There go the difference between that route. As you see now, the guys that are sticking to the hip, they're not doing it right. The guys that are shadowing at the bottom, they are doing it right because if you are truly somebody's shadow, your shadow don't stay under your foot. Your shadow steps away from you.
And is there anything to them going over the top of this here? Because, I thought they'd want to undercut it.
No, you got to undercut it. And that's what the coach is telling him now. Don't you go over top because that's the safety's job. Like, you can't do your job as a corner and the safety job. Stay underneath and let the safety stay over top.
Yeah, Tan,
I want to chime in on that too. One of the things that Fred said that was key, and he's a defensive back, play at a high level. One of the things that he said that was key too, because if you're shadowing a guy that far off, now you're not acceptable to that double move. Where now, like if I'm tighter and I get up there,
that's a great point.
And take that move, he can beat me over the top. A little distance in between us when he give me that move, I have a time to recover. Bingo.
Yeah.
And Tana, it's like you're clairvoyant, man. Like they're working double moves right now. They're working post corner, right? Yeah. And so like just teaching them to be patient, especially like they run a lot of cover 3 here, right? That's a good technique, right? Be patient over top.
Because you're anxious, because you don't want to give him that inch. You know that inch beats you.
Yeah.
But your coach is telling you, give him that inch. Let him take you to the ball. That's the key. Let him take you to the ball. Let the quarterback make the mistake.
Yeah, and then we got the safeties over here kind of right in the middle, and I think the thing that I like to see about them is them working match concepts. So we are going to be out here at practice every single day. We're going to talk about all these drills all the time, talk about your favorite players. So stay with us. But in the meantime, Brian, back to you.
Play, man, every play.
Gotta be a dog with that. Fellas, thank you guys so much. Great to see our guys on the field. Day 1 of training camp. But
that's right.
Before we go to break real quick, I was talking to you guys. Pads are coming.
Yeah.
As defenders, how hungry were you to put those pads on and get the hit?
Certain people were hungry for pads.
This guy right here.
No, me and London might have liked pads. Smoot, not so much.
Smoot definitely didn't want any pads.
No DBs, no skill guys. Santana and all the guys will tell you that. You know, pads, we like, it's tackling and stuff, but we ain't tackling down to the ground anyway. We out here covering and messing around playing coverages.
You find out who really want to play football, who really love football when the pads come on, especially about that second week of training camp. Yeah. And it's 9-on-7 or half-line drills. Man, I used to thrive that. I would tell them, listen, because you get into some situation where they try to kind of brother-in-law take it easy. I would tell them, listen, I don't believe in peace treaties. There will be no peace treaties.
No hostages.
You step between these white lines, you better strap up.
Sean, love this whole posture.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about pads, man. We love that, man. We have had so much fun here at Day 1. And if you had fun watching us, after this break, we'll tell you how you can see us again.
Why always the couch? Does he need to go to puppy school? Get his little puppy diploma? How much have I been spending on this little guy?
When your questions about life turn into questions about money, there's Erica, the virtual financial assistant to help you spend, save, and plan smarter. Only from Bank of America. What would you like the power to do?
The final stone of the championship. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary.
Roger, this is looking good.
We believe every moment in sports should be epic.
Are you watching this? Is that curling?
Nah.
This morning's news, curling fever has taken over the world.
So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
What you doing? Searching. For what? My financial wellness. Stop searching. Go Northwest. I went to Northwest Federal Credit Union. Totally better than a bank. And they helped me figure out how to make my money work for me. I even got a great credit card that pays 2 times the points. But can they help me find my car keys? Stop searching. Go Northwest.
Hey, grab me one too.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least insulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket?
No, but we do make them work.
Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the Seat View feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.
You've got your Sunday obsession, and we got you. Now with Verizon, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV on us and get every out-of-market Sunday game. Plus $800 off Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. only on Verizon.
See you Sunday.
We have had a lot of fun, Commanders family, but don't you worry. Our crew will be back on the sidelines all training camp long. That's right. We'll be right back here on Monday for the first day of pads. Fellas, how y'all feeling about those pads?
I will be here for those pads.
Yes. And remember, you can tune in to the Commanders YouTube page, X, to check out our streams, and Facebook. Fellas, it has been a fun day one.
Yep.
I can't wait to the pads now. London got me excited.
Don't be too excited, man. It's about making plays. It's about making plays, man.
Speaking of making plays, I'm glad I got a playmaking quarterback. Man, Snoop, I got more interceptions than Fred. So he will make plays, but I don't have more interceptions than Blue.
Hey, man, you ain't lied once, man. You ain't lied once. From Brian Coleman Jr., London Fletcher, Sean Spriggs, Fred Swoop, Logan Paulson, and Santana Moss. We will check y'all out on Monday, Commanders family. Peace out.